Kerry Waldy here, second career jet pilot, talking about the process of getting hired. It can be an arduous process, but the job is challenging. So if you can't handle the process, it's likely you won't handle the job. I want to give you 3 websites that really helped hone in on who I wanted to work for and then learning the process of how to get hired by these companies. The first one is airlinepilotcentral.com. This is a great website that has a lot of information about a lot of different companies. And so you can scroll through. In a previous video, I think I talked about this. You can scroll through and just pick the companies and just really research them. The information is generally reliable. I would say 80% current, but it gives you a ballpark. Once you kind of pick a few of those companies, then you can go to the company website. Company websites are really good as well, and they will always have a career section. Sometimes it's hidden in the bottom. Click on careers, click on pilots, and then you'll be able to look, see how they're recruiting you, understand a little bit about the company, why you should work for them, and then also get in touch with a recruiter. There's usually an email there as well. Or there's a place where you can apply. The second website is airlineapps.com. Airlineapps.com. This website was created to help streamline the process of applying for multiple different companies. So let's say you have 4 companies that you would say, I could work for them. You can get an Airline Apps account. There is a fee if you're going to do multiple companies. And the hardest thing about this is you have to fill out a very detailed application process, which for me the hardest part was curating and logging all the different kinds of airplanes I've flown, the time and different types. And so that took a long time. But once that was done, you can just select boxes and then they will shoot out that information to various recruiters at the companies that you selected. So it's a paid service, but it's worth it. The last one is aviationinterviews.com. This is a great website that gives you gauges on the questions that you will be asked at various companies. And I would say from my experience, which isn't super extensive, that there's probably about 70% overlap with the questions that they ask you. They're going to ask you, tell me about a time this happened. Tell me about a time. It's called tell me about a time questions. And then they're also going to ask you some technical questions. Or they'll also throw in a simulator evaluation if you get to pass the first level. But this website gives you the inside gouge from recent pilots who have gone through the interview process. It is a paid subscription, but it is well worth the money. So those are my top 3 websites for beginning the process of finding out who you want to fly for. Also the company's websites, very, very important. Who you want to fly for and how you're going to learn about the interview process. As you're preparing for the interview, you're going to prepare for basically 2, maybe 3 parts of the interview if they include a simulator evaluation. The first part is kind of get to know you. It is tell me about a time. But before you ever start the interview process, you should research the company very well. Now, what I did, and I'm glad I did it, is I started an interview notebook. So this is my interview notebook, and it is full of HR type questions, human resource type questions, and then also technical answers to the questions that they'll be asking. And I found a lot of these questions through that website, aviationinterviews.com. And then I started the process of learning what I needed to learn, but also thinking about my answers, knowing that these questions were coming. There's really no reason why you shouldn't be ready and polished to communicate well. Tell me about yourself. I made it aviation centric. They don't want to know everything about you. But basically when they say, tell me about yourself, they're asking to find out, is this person a good fit with our company? Do they like to fly? And I've flown with captains who said if they didn't need the money, they wouldn't fly. And they're just not, it's not super fun in the cockpit. But do you enjoy doing that? So I talked about my life, always wanting to fly and how I learned at a young age. And then my career took a turn, but I got some valuable experience and then also kept flying. And this was the time for me to re-enter the flying world as a professional. And so I shared my story about that. So tell me about yourself. Code for tell me how you're going to be a great fit for this company. Then tell me about this company. Why do you want to work for this company? And what I did, I interviewed for 4 companies, is I specifically went on that company website and you look for their core holdings, their core ethics, what do they believe in, what's their vision for the company, who are the key leaders, and I just kind of imbibe that. Now, here's the thing, is they're going to want to know if you're going to want to fly for this company or if you're just going to take the first job that comes along. Now, I know in the aviation industry that sometimes the job you have isn't the job of your dreams. However, for me, I would not apply to any company that I wasn't willing to give 100% for. And so I would look at their values, I would look at their ethics, I would look at the company vision, and then I would use those buzzwords. I would say, this is why I want to work for your company, because I believe in safety and service, or I believe in these 4 core values that really stuck out to me about the company. And I think that I could add impetus to further the vision of Company X. And then there's, tell me about a time when you had a challenge in the air, or you had an emergency, or you dealt with a difficult person. And these questions will all be there on that website. Have those ready. And I just went through my notebook and I just wrote those questions down and those answers so that I could have them ready at that time. The technical questions now required some study. And the YouTube channel Bold Method really helped me with my turbine knowledge. Their video on SIDS and stars was fantastic. Just talking about the professional pilot level. And so that was a great YouTube channel that helped me learn. And there are a number of other books and resources that were helpful to that process. And you'll learn a little bit too as you go through to pass the ATP written. So HR questions, tell me about a time questions, and then there's the simulator. I have a great EAA organization in my town, and they have simulators set up. And we bought the kinds of airplanes that I might be flying in my simulator tests. I had no jet experience. And so I went through the simulator profile and I probably flew it 100 times before I actually got to the interview. And because it was so new to me, the glass cockpit and the autopilots and the crewed environment, there was just a lot of things. And so they sent me the simulator profile, the company, a few days before I left. But I got the simulator profile from the aviationinterviews.com, and practiced it on Microsoft Flight Simulator over and over and over again, and just learning a little bit about jet performance, and you're not holding that throttle or the thrust levers all the way forward. So practice and prepare for these things. Now, some people get professional coaching as it relates to this. I had some friends, and I have a video on this YouTube channel of Airline pilot who's also a pilot examiner, and he answers over an hour of questions. The other questions that can be challenging are what I call bad captain questions. Let's say you have a captain who shows up and you smell alcohol on his breath, and how are you going to handle that? So those are tough questions because they require some experience in the answer of those. So I went to people who had the experience. And when I saw pilots in the airport or in different places, sometimes I would, hey, do you mind me, give me a few minutes of your time? I got some questions for you. I'm looking to do what you do and working through the interview prep process. There are books out there as well that helps, but it helps to just get it from people who have gone through it recently. So anyway, these are the key resources that really help me prepare for the interview.